Hi. Hey, if you're worried about homeschooling high school or you're fearful of making mistakes, this class is for you. My name is Lee Benz and I'm the home scholar. My mission is to help you homeschool high school. And today that means we're going to be talking about how do you avoid some of the mistakes that happen when parents are homeschooling. Because I know a lot of people get super afraid. And so if you're feeling nervous or scared about high school, this is the right place for you to chime in and just say, how are you feeling today? You can homeschool with excellence and peace, and I'm here to help. Today, we are talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that parents make homeschooling high school. And I just want to start by saying, I don't think you're making a mistake. I think homeschooling is a great idea. The reason I named the class mistakes is because that's what people search for online. What mistakes am I making? What mistakes should I avoid? Now, I homeschooled my own 2 children from 3rd grade all the way through high school. They earned a homeschool diploma. They had a handmade transcript that I made myself with grades that I determined on my own. And my 2 homeschool graduates were both admitted to every college where they applied, and they received a 4-year full tuition scholarship to their first choice university. And today I want to share with you the things that I learned when I was homeschooling so that you can be successful too. Now, this class is perfect for you if you're currently homeschooling, or if you're thinking about homeschooling, or you just pulled your children out of public school. So if you want to do everything that you can to help your children to succeed in life, just chime in on chat and say yes. So here's what you're going to learn. We're going to talk about how to avoid the 5 biggest mistakes. We're going to talk about how to plan high school courses without going crazy, how to plan high school tests without going crazy. We'll talk about the life-directed learning and why it's essential. We'll talk about what grades to keep, records to keep, and why. And Nunya, that's when you and I can talk about how to determine grades without tests. So I'm going to be giving answers to your specific questions. So at the end, you just type in that question again, Nunya, and we'll definitely talk about it. So tell me, are these the kinds of things that you're hoping to learn today? Do you feel like you're going to be getting the information that you need to be hit the ground running today? Good, good. So I wanted to share with you just for a minute the day that it became okay for me to homeschool. You know, we all have reasons of why we homeschooled, and I had a lot of academic reasons for homeschooling. But my mother in law, funny story, told me that I was not allowed to homeschool her grandchildren because she thought it was terrible. So, let's all embrace the humor in there. But anyway, one day it became okay. And she changed her mind completely. She said, it's no longer optional. You have to homeschool your children. And that was on April 20th. Does anybody know what happened on April 20th? That was the day of Columbine. I pulled my kids, that's right, Bethany. I pulled my kids out right before Columbine happened, and it completely changed the minds of my in-laws. So Columbine is the first mass school shooting. Now when there's a school shooting, it feels like it doesn't even make the news. But I had decided to homeschool before then for academic reasons. I was determined that I would teach my children. I was determined they would get into college. I was determined that they would be socialized. And I figured it couldn't be that hard because after all, they were only in 3rd grade, 3rd and 5th when I started. And so I wasn't worried too much. And then the worst possible thing happened to me. And that thing was called physics. Now, granted, it was just the physics of middle school, but for me, physics is the one subject that seems absolutely impossible, completely not understandable, not attainable. I would never ever be able to teach my children physics. And this negative self-talk really came to the surface. And it was like the imposter syndrome for me, right? They were saying to me, I was saying to myself, you're a pretender, you can't do this. Who do you think you're kidding? And physics took me from being confident and secure to being head down in my hands, crying, right? I kept thinking physics, it's only the glue that holds the universe together. And I was crying, you know. Um, I was completely stymied by physics. In fact, if you want to share what is your horrible subject right now, that we'll all embrace that together. So what happened to me is that my husband came alongside and he said, I can help. He did not dismiss my concerns. He didn't say I was being silly. He just simply opened the physics book and said, that's not so tough. It was like he had not been traumatized by physics in the past or something. So homeschooling, I know, is tough business, but I do think that every homeschool mom needs somebody who will help them. And it's not always a loving spouse. It can be a supportive parent. It can be a wise mentor. Hopefully it's all three. So let me ask you, does anybody here have somebody who helps you? Who is that person? Especially if it's not a husband, because I know sometimes husbands want to be helpful, but that doesn't mean that they are. Because I know Jennifer's nervous about Algebra 2, Carla's physics, Missy is geometry, and we're all nervous about others, right? YouTube, interesting. Mother and brother, says Carla, good. And Stephanie has a community at church, that's wonderful. Well, so we flash forward a few years, and I have already confessed that my children won the full tuition scholarships. In fact, they got scholarships worth $184,000. I felt like somebody had handed me, a bag full of cash. We knew we had neat kids. We did not know that their neatness would result in financial aid like that, right? So for me, the words "I can help" became the secret to our homeschool success. You see, during my homeschool journey, God placed special people, friends, relatives, mentors at critical junctions along the way. And that gave us the full tuition scholarships. When we got the scholarships, that allowed me to start my business helping parents homeschool high school so that I could pay it forward. And I actually want to be the one for you right now in your moment of need, helping you to homeschool. So if you feel like you don't have anybody, you actually do. You have me. So if you're feeling discouraged, first of all, I wish I could give you a cookie. Second of all, I want you to type in on the chat box, what are you feeling the most afraid of? Is it fear of failure, fear of hurting your children's future, fear of looking foolish? Because it's really not English or physics. There's something behind that fear. They can sneak up on you, maybe at a family event, ambush you at a homeschool convention when you feel incapable. I remember one time we were having a family dinner with our extended family, and I was seated between, I think there were 5 teachers at my table of 8. And I was grilled. I felt so discouraged. They told me I wasn't capable. But I know that the responsibility for homeschooling does fall on us. And I think that's why we get so scared. But think about it this way. This is also why we are some of the bravest people on the planet. You are a hero. Because a hero is somebody who lays down their life for somebody else, and who, other than a hero, would sacrifice their time and talent and money just for somebody else's education, just for their child, right? Not many people do that, but you are. And so I know that you're a homeschool hero, and I know that you can sow the seeds of greatness in your children. You can do this. I know this to be true because I did it, and I was terrified. And people told me I couldn't do it. but I did. And I know that you can do it too. Now, I did become pretty obsessed with taking classes on how to homeschool high school, which is why I'm glad that you're here today. I took all the classes at convention, I read all the books, I talked to all the older homeschoolers around me, but not everybody has those resources. And with the lack of support for homeschooling high school, that becomes the time when most people feel like consider dropping out for the first time. And I know that it's difficult because you'd go to a convention and they don't have any speakers on the topic of high school, or maybe they have one support group meeting that is about a high school topic, and the rest of the time you're just on your own. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so committed in my mission to help you homeschool high school, because I really want to give you what may be lacking in certain parts of the support community. But my being obsessed with homeschooling high school is one of the reasons why I became successful. And I think that's the reason why you're going to become successful too, because here it is, it's a Tuesday, and you're thinking, I'm going to take a class on homeschooling high school. That's how I can almost ensure success. But there are three things that I learned in the process. Number one, it doesn't have to be that hard. It should not feel impossible. Number two, the people who fail at homeschooling high school do that because of these common mistakes that we're going to talk about. And so knowing where those traps are is the first step to avoiding them. And that's why, again, I'm glad you're here today, so that I can talk you down off the ledge and teach you the simplicity of homeschooling high school. So let's start talking about these common mistakes so that you can avoid them, become the homeschool hero I know you can be. So let's jump into the workbook, okay? I want to talk about mistake number one, which is not preparing for college. I don't want you to leave this class by thinking I mean something that I don't mean, okay? Let me explain this with one quick question. Has your child ever changed their mind? Yes or no? I am not kidding. I need you to stop laughing. I know they changed their mind over breakfast today. Yes. Okay. So this is what happens when you're homeschooling high school, because one day they'll say, I want to be a brain surgeon. And the next day they'll say, I want to be a bricklayer. That is what teenage life is like. Okay. So how do you avoid this mistake? Write this down. Always be prepared. You can avoid the mistake by simply being prepared. I get regular calls from mom that need a transcript today or course descriptions today, because it's harder than you think to create those papers. You can do it. I'm here to help. I make it as easy as possible, but it's not like you wiggle your nose or snap your fingers and they magically appear. Okay. So what we need to do then is talk about, how do you be prepared, so that just in case when they're a senior in high school and they want to get a business degree or become a educator and spread the love of learning somewhere, how can you prepare them for that? Well, number one, you want to maximize flexibility. Now, so here's the problem. Common sense tells us that college prep is important for college-bound students. So we don't even need to talk about that. Of course they need college prep. I want to tell you about kids that are not college-bound, okay? Then their homeschool experience may be their only formal education through, their young adulthood. If they aren't going on to college, they may go directly into the workforce. They still need to be prepared. They still need to be good citizens. They still need to function in their chosen career. They still need to vote responsibly. So if you're doing college prep for all of your children, then no matter what life brings, you will be ready. They will be well prepared for life. They will be civically responsible. They will be prepared for college if that is the plan. Sometimes the plan for college doesn't happen until 10 years after high school graduation, 20 years after high school graduation. Long after homeschooling is ended, your child will make their own decision, and they may change their mind and want to go to college, and that's when you need to be ready. Second, you don't really know what the future holds or what path they will ultimately take. You want to be prepared by covering the important things. So here's what college prep means. It means academics, basic literacy. Okay. It covers reading, writing, math. You need those in any profession. It covers history, so our society is not doomed to repeat it. It covers sciences for critical thinking. It covers American government, so your child can vote effectively. It covers foreign languages, so we can better understand the world around us. It covers physical fitness, so they're healthy young adults. So with time to develop their own interests, they will start to develop job skills, et cetera, that's going to help them make a plan for the future. So all of these things together, those are things you want for your children anyway. Can I get an amen? And so providing college prep does not hurt anyone, but it will help you to be prepared. So I want you to write this down. College preparation is life preparation. You know why? It's because it teaches a good work ethic. If you've ever wished that there was a work ethic curriculum, Apologia work ethic, right? There is one. It's called math and science and English. It's because those are hard work, right? So you want to include daily math, science, writing, so your child learns how to work hard, not just with their hands or with their muscles, but also with their head, right? This is what we want, a strong work ethic. This is how we teach it with college preparation. Now, this is important. Currently, 40 to 60% of college freshmen need remedial help in math, English, or both. That means that 40 to 60%, let's call it 50%. 50% of kids are remedial. They don't have the literacy skills needed for adulthood. Half. Whoa. Okay. So now is no time to freak out, though. Here's why. Even a modestly intellectual child can be well prepared for college. And if your child is remedial, welcome to the club. We're all in that together. That's fine. If your child is not remedial, congratulations. You're probably going to get great scholarships. I know that when my children were in public high school, public elementary school, I realized quickly that I could do better preparing them academically. Now, college prep does not mean calculus or physics, by the way, right? So when they say remedial help, they're not saying, oh, they didn't get to calculus. They're talking about they didn't get into algebra 1 by the time they graduated, okay? So it doesn't mean calculus or physics. It means literacy. They're ready to learn at a college level. They don't know a college level. They're just ready, okay? Now, if you don't prepare for college, college is still possible. It's more painful financially, academically. Grading in college might be a little lower, right? But it is still possible. And if you can't get them prepared in one area due to, say, I don't know, dyslexia, dysgraphia, you can keep working in the other areas separately. They can still receive remedial help in college, just like 50% of the people that are college freshmen, okay? But you can still provide them with the best possible preparation in all of the other areas. Okay, how? How do we do this thing? How do you plan for college? Well, in this next section, we're going to go over exactly how to plan a rigorous curriculum. If calculus is not importantly, if physics is not the deal, what's the deal then with planning college level courses for getting ready for college? So whether you think college is a slam dunk sure choice, or whether you think, this college prep, she's convinced me, but this is only my don't mess up and be prepared plan, this section is for you, okay? It starts with mistake number 2, which is failing to plan high school courses, right? Because you can flow along and forget this. Now, for unschoolers, that mistake might mean that you have failed to collect areas of natural learning, or you failed to intentionally teach the one or two things that might be missing from their natural learning. For many, I don't know, not all, many unschoolers, they'll use a textbook for math because it's the one thing that kids don't, automatically pick up for most kids. So the solution to mistake number 2 is to plan a rigorous curriculum. Okay, plan a rigorous. So what does rigorous mean? It does not mean calculus. It's a sweet spot, right? That sweet spot means you're challenging your children, but it's not overwhelming. It's just the right amount of information, just the right difficulty of information. So it's not easy, but it's not too hard. And that will allow them to always be successful and always, frankly, get A grades or B grades, right? Now, there are some key steps to this one, planning a rigorous curriculum. So step number 1 is to check your state homeschool law. Do not look at public school requirements. Those change every year. That moving target will drive you crazy and is irrelevant. Instead, look at the state homeschool law. After all, the public school, they may have a success rate of less than 50%, right? 40 to 60% are remedial. You don't want that for your children. So look at your state homeschool organization to find your state homeschool requirements and then make a plan to meet those requirements. Now, there are some states that don't require anything from homeschoolers, and that's fine. Just make sure you're meeting the legal requirements of your state law. And then you focus on providing general college prep classes. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But again, that will allow for maximum flexibility in the future. And it does not require calculus or physics. Number 2, you want to exceed the requirements of a normal plan by including delight-directed learning. Now, delight-directed learning is what makes school fun. It makes it more efficient. So allow time for your teenager to have fun and then scoop up with a bucket all of those things that they're doing for fun, because many of them can be high school courses. So if they do taekwondo, that's PE. If they're riding their horses, maybe that's equine science. There's a lot of options for delight-directed learning. So let's talk about including the frequently required classes, okay? Because you are trying to meet college admission requirements just in case. And I've told you already that doesn't mean physics and calculus. So what does it mean? It means every college has its own requirements, but in general, this is what most colleges say is required. You have to have 4 English credits. English is technically reading and writing. So if your child is reading and writing every day, that is called English. Most would like to see 4 math credits. Very rarely do they require a specific level. And so usually it's just 4 years of math at the child's level. It means 3 to 4 years of social studies, which are like history and government and economics. It means 3 years of science credits with at least 1 science lab. You can do more, right? You can definitely do more labs. That's great. Most colleges will require 2, 3, or 4 foreign language credits. Most will require 2 years of PE and 1 year of fine art. Now, all of this can be done with flexibility and freedom. They actually should not be all textbook based, should not. Some of them can, right? But in all areas of college prep coursework, make sure you're teaching your child at the right level, that sweet spot, remember, challenging, not overwhelming. Math, science, English should be hard for your child, not impossible. Now, I want to make sure that you have your book because we've had quite a few people more join us. So make sure that you write down this URL, tinyurl.com/top motivation. Let's see if I can circle that. It's right here. Write that down in your workbook, and that will give you some tips for motivating your teenagers, right? So we've talked now about what classes are required. This book is going to help you motivate them and find that sweet spot between challenging and overwhelming. So now what? Now we need to review your plan every year. Now, I'd like you to write this down. This job is particularly well handled in Hawaii. Okay, you take a trip every year to Hawaii, you review your plan, you'll be a better home educator. I have known people that have done that. It was not me. But seriously, a quick yearly review can keep you on track. Even in my own homeschool, I forgot a core class. It's true. I told you that I felt incapable. I forgot a core class and I didn't pick it up until our very last year of high school. So it was a good thing that I was doing that yearly check-in. The yearly review will help you remember, oh my gosh, I never did a foreign language or a lab science, or I got to finally do that art course I've been dreading, something like that. Now, colleges will know that you've done a good job planning high school courses when your student takes the college admission exams. So we need to talk about those, and that's what we're going to do next. But I do want you to remember that the basics of academics will cover a multitude of weaknesses. It's like love covers a multitude of sins. Well, basic literacy covers a multitude of academic weaknesses. So think for a minute, what is your child's weakest subject? Math, English, if your child has a solid foundation in the basics, reading, writing, math, then you will be successful. And then when your child gets older, they will be able to catch up quickly if you need to. So let's talk about the next biggest mistake, okay? The next biggest mistake is ignoring high school tests, the SAT or ACT. Walking into a test unprepared or skipping it altogether literally makes your teenager's life harder. Now, I know that tests are a little scary to parents and teens, SAT, ACT, PSAT, AP, right? And I know that the temptation is to ignore them and maybe they will go away. But the great news is that these tests can demonstrate literacy, that your children know enough to thrive in college. They're not part of the 50% that don't know enough to do well in college. And I know that it can cause stress and anxiety, but we do need to talk about tests. So this section is going to give you some tools and resources that you can use to begin getting familiar with these tests. Now, I teach an entire 1-hour class on high school tests, so I'm just going to give it to you really briefly today. How do you avoid this problem? You write down 2 websites, collegeboard.org and ac.act.org. If you've written down those 2 websites, they will have all of the information that you need on the most common tests in high school. All of the information you'll need will be found on those 2. The College Board does PSAT, SAT, AP, and CLEP. And the ACT company does the ACT and the pre-ACT. Okay, so you have written down those websites. So let me talk you through each of those tests one at a time so you understand them better. The first test that you usually see is the PSAT. That is made by the College Board. It's the pre or practice SAT, that's what it's for. It is also the entryway into the National Merit Scholarship. So here's what you need to do. Take it in October of 11th grade so that your child may qualify for the National Merit Scholar. The problem with taking it in October is that some schools, some public high schools will register in May, and some public high schools will register in September, and you don't know which school you're going to be registering at. I also recommend that students take the PSAT in 10th grade just for fun. That gives you, the parent, practice at registering. Does my school register in May or September? Am I better off at a public school or private school for my student? And it also gives your child practice taking this fill in the bubble test. The next test that you take will be either the SAT or the ACT. Now write this down. You take the SAT or ACT 2 times in the spring of 11th grade. Here's what you need to know. Colleges will accept either universally, SAT or ACT. So I want you to choose the best test. Here's how you do that, okay? Give a sample SAT test at home in the kitchen, timed while baking chocolate chip cookies. A little bit of chaos in the kitchen is good. It helps them have a more normal test anxiety situation. And they're just baking cookies, so nobody gets hurt. While the child takes the test, you bake the cookies. Once the test is finished, you reward them with the cookies. You give them an afternoon free of school, and the student will hopefully associate test taking with pleasure and sweetness, not pain. Perhaps a week later, you give a sample ACT test at home, in the kitchen, timed while baking brownies. Brownies is very important. And then you give them the day off and you give them brownies when they're done with the test. And then you compare the results to choose which is the best test. So here's what I need you to write down. Choose the test that makes your child look smarter. As a homeschooler, you are free to give either test. Don't give the test your neighbor takes. Do not. Give the test that makes your child look smarter. That's why you need to sample both at home, kind of side by side. 1/3 will do better on the SAT, 1/3 will do better on the ACT. For 1/3, it doesn't matter. The only way you're going to know which test is best for your child is by giving them a sample at home. There is a third alternative, and that is the CLT exam. It's a new up-and-coming alternative to the SAT or ACT. When your child is in 10th or 11th grade, you can go to their website, cltexam.com, to see if it's a good fit for your child. Since it's new, it's accepted by far fewer colleges. Currently, 200 colleges accept the CLT, but there are over 5,000 colleges. So even if you find your child does well on the CLT and you choose to take the CLT, I also want you to take the SAT or ACT. Okay. Next, number 3, you want to take subject tests after the subject is completed. Okay. So write that down. You take those tests after the subject is completed. Now you have 2 options for subject tests, the AP and the CLEP. Both of those are arranged by the College Board. Let me explain really briefly that AP is a college level essay test. It's like you're taking a college class. They're very hard, but they do earn college credit. The other one is the CLEP. CLEPs are very hard like AP, but they're computer based. They also measure college amount of learning, but college policies vary on whether or not they accept CLEP tests. These tests are also made by the College Board. Now, I want you to write down the free book I'm going to give you today. This is, yes, it's true, my second free book. Who knew you were going to get 2 free books today? If you're interested in learning more, you'd write down in your workbook, tinyurl.com/AP-CLEP, AP-CLEP, and you can download and read more about that test later. Okay, now you may hear about a different subject test. It is called the SAT-2 or SAT subject test. Those tests are no longer available. They have been completely eliminated. Okay, so if you read about those are not available to your student at all going forward. Now, what do colleges really want in test scores? They don't care about test scores. They want academics. They want literacy. They want students who are educated. They just use the test scores as a way to get there. Okay. So they want to know your student is literate because, half of them aren't. So, how do you do this? In this next section, we're going to be talking about things other than tests that can prove your child has the academics and the literacy to get into college and thrive. Also, this is the section that will make homeschooling more fun, right? Who needs fun? The kids, that's for sure. Mistake number 4 is failing to develop passion in your students. If you've ever heard about the love of learning, that's it. It's this passion for education, this love of learning. It's what can move your homeschool into fantastic success with academic excellence. Now, sometimes parents, are so focused on, a checklist of classes that they need that they forget this important aspects of their students' development. So we don't want to make that mistake. How do you avoid it? You avoid this mistake by encouraging delight-directed learning. You're not tolerating it, you're encouraging it. Now, I need you to do me a favor. I know we're chatting about a lot of different things, but I need you to listen and chime in on chat. In 1 or 2 words, what is something your child loves to do? Something that they are passionate about. Please avoid, social media, or playing computer games. But other than those things, right? Like reading, horses, baseball, scootering, philosophy, ninja, love that. Crafting, all of those things. Socializing, math. These are all great things that your child is passionate about. And colleges love passion, whether that is speech and debate or baseball or showing livestock. Literally, this is Lord of the Rings is a fantastic high school course, by the way. Okay, so colleges call this thing, they call it passion or specialization, but it's really the unique interests or the delight-directed learning in homeschool terms. And the definition is things your child enjoys doing. It's best when they enjoy doing it for years at a time. And frankly, it's an important part of their development as a human being, right? Colleges do prefer to see students who focus on certain areas that they specialize in rather than dabbling in 1,000 different things, but really has things that they love, love, love to do. Now, the next thing is to focus on specialization. It can be academic or non-academic. Sometimes kids are very interested in a topic like history or science or art or PE. I'm seeing gymnastics, cello, piano, for example. They may use this information to help them choose their college major wisely. Now, other times it could be non-academic. They want to develop their own business. My child, I know my husband has already shared, was very into chess, right? Chess was consuming in my home, which is kind of a non-academic subject. But wherever their interest lies, allow them the time to pursue it. If they have no interest, I can tell you the answer to that is make them bored. If they are bored, they will find an interest, which is part of the big problem with social media and gaming. They don't ever get bored enough to develop something that they're interested in. Anyway, this specialization, even if it's non-academic, specialization can help guide them, shape them into great citizens, help them seek a career fit. So, for example, my student who loved chess, that was how he identified he wanted to be an engineer because he liked solving problems, which he did not get from me. Now, the missing ingredient, though, is that it's possible for you to do everything right and still fall short. You can have great classes. You can have a well-educated student. You can have fantastic test scores. But if you're missing this key ingredient, you still might drop the ball. So you don't want to fall into this trap either. And I'll give you a hint. This happens to be my specialty, but I promise you it's not too scary. Mistake number 5 is forgetting to complete your homeschool records. As I've told you, I see this all the time. Now, the first 4 errors that we talked about are frequently made but easily corrected. To plan for college, to plan courses, arrange tests, emphasize specialization. And I know that high school record keeping can be intimidating, especially if you don't think you're an organized person. And I understand that. I was scared too. But in this section, I'm going to share the what, why, and how of homeschool record management. Okay, so how do you avoid this mistake? I was so intimidated too, Carla. Here's how you do it. You make high school records. You make yourself make high school records. And when do you do this crazy thing? You do it every single year. And that's what I need you to write down in your workbook in big, bold letters. You do this every single year. No excuses. Now, one of the things you may not know about me is I'm actually an RN. I'm a nurse. And I know that if your mother gets cancer, a spouse dies, you get a concussion, your house burns down, you get Lyme disease, you have long COVID, somebody's in a car accident, death, disease, divorce happens, you are not going to have the wherewithal to get the job done. And you don't know when bad things are going to happen. If we knew when bad things were going to happen, we would only need half as many nurses in the world that we have now. You can't control when bad things happen to us. And so what do you need to do? You need to make your records every single year. So if you miss something, say 9 months of homeschooling, you're still going to be okay because you had those records made. Okay? So this is important. You need to choose right now a month and year when you're going to make your records. And I want you to write that down. I don't want you to be afraid. I just need you to get the help you need so you don't avoid it anymore. It's actually not that hard, but it is a little bit time consuming. Now, I know what people are thinking. What exactly are homeschool records? I got you covered there. I know Geraldine is worried that her son's only in 8th grade. So what do you need to do? So let me explain what is absolutely essential in my mind. The first is the official transcript. You make it every year of high school. You keep it updated every single year of high school, no matter what, every year. Now, I will say, how do you make it official? You write official on the top. That is how you do it. The second thing I believe is essential is the high school diploma, but this is more for emotional, psychological reasons. As a mother, I can tell you why this is important. Your child is probably never going to be asked to bring your diploma to work so I can see it, okay? But almost once a year, you get asks, do you have a high school diploma, right? What is your highest level of education? Some form will say. And you want your children to automatically say, yes, I have a high school diploma. You do not want them to hesitate or look at mommy or say, I don't know, or say, I was homeschooled. That would be bad. And so providing this diploma gives them this important piece of document that nobody's going to see but them, but so that they will emotionally immediately say yes when they're asked have you graduated high school? Now, there are other pieces of paper that are beyond the bare minimum. Okay. Colleges may require or request, or at the very least, appreciate additional records. So, what do colleges want? They want course descriptions, they want a reading list, and they want an activity list. One college may only ask you for a transcript, another may want transcript and reading list. Another college may want exhaustive course descriptions with a description of how you graded. But the problem is, especially if you have like an eighth grader or ninth grader, middle school, you have no idea where your child's going to go to college. Even if your child was in 11th grade, you don't still know where they're going to be applying for college, or if the college is going to have a different policy next year. So this comes back to our original concept of always being prepared. You need a transcript to get into college. You need to keep records in order to make a transcript. And so the lesson is keeping records from the beginning. Now, the three most common reasons why homeschoolers are denied college admission is number one, missed opportunities. You think you can't afford college, so you don't even try. I need you to understand that you can afford college. Scholarships are available for homeschoolers, and I teach classes on how to earn scholarships all the time. Number two, missed deadlines. You're applying to college and you didn't realize this is a months-long process. You had to complete your records maybe, and you are the weakest link. Number three is missed records. You think you're the only exception. You think you won't need a transcript, but you're not the exception. Even if your child has perfect SAT scores, even if your child has an AA degree from college, even if your child is going to community college, you still need a transcript from high school. And you're the school, you're in charge. So the solution to all of this brings us back to the very beginning, which is to always be prepared. Don't overstress, keep it simple, but be prepared. Don't wait. Learn about high school every year so you won't forget. Now, I did want to go over a bonus blunder, just mostly because it's really fun. This bonus blunder number 6 is not celebrating success. This is not like kindergarten graduation. High school graduation is a big deal. That's why it's on all these forums, like when you apply for a job or during the surveys, different things. They ask you, do you have a high school diploma? It's an important rite of passage. So what year will your child graduate high school? I'd like you to write that down. This is one more mistake I want you to avoid. When you finish high school, remember to have some sort of closing ceremonies. It's like the Olympics. They have a closing ceremonies. Celebrate success. Have a graduation party. At my graduation party for my children, we got the book by Dr. Seuss, All the Places You'll Go. And we use that in place of a high school yearbook. And all of the people that came to our graduation party signed meaningful notes to my kids. You can have a cap and gown. Even as a homeschooler, you can have elaborate memory boards. You can plan a beautiful parties. You can play pomp and circumstance. You can have it in your backyard. You can do it with your friends. You can graduate with co-op. Just remember, when you finish high school, finish your high school transcript before the graduation party. No excuses, because afterward, you're just never going to get it done. Okay. So whether they go to college or not, make a transcript every year, no excuses, and save the transcript forever. So I hope that you found this information helpful. I'd like to know, what is your biggest takeaway from this workshop before we get into the question and answer portion? I'm really looking forward to talking to you more, whether you want to talk about graduation when your homeschool organization doesn't have one or not. Now, the whole ordeal of homeschooling, it comes back to that physics moment. when I thought my world was going to collapse. And so that is why I became so motivated to help others. I don't want anyone to struggle the way that I struggled. Yes, you do need to start on your transcript, Lorraine. All right, let's talk about why did you attend this class? There was something about making mistakes that made you want to take this class? Is it because teens are tough, high school is scary, you want what's best for your child, you didn't know how to get there, possibly all of the above? It's all really challenging, isn't it? I know these things. I know that you love your children, and love can ensure success. I know that it's time for you to move confidently into the middle school and high school years without fear. I know that you can earn the knowledge and wisdom and support you need while your student is ready. I can help you find proven solutions to the toughest high school challenges that you might face. I know you're not superhuman, but I know that if I can homeschool high school successfully, that you can homeschool high school successfully. It's your time. Here you are, you're taking a class on homeschooling high school. This is your time to shine, to learn more, to become the homeschool hero that I know that you can be. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down your commitment to take action. Okay? Write this down. Every year, I will learn more about homeschooling high school. Every year, I will learn more about homeschooling high school. Now, that brings the obvious question up, where do you find the wisdom and encouragement necessary to homeschool high school? And that's where I'd love to help you, because you could choose chocolate or coffee. It seems like it's the answer to everything, but it doesn't actually get you there. You could try just using your friends with more experience, but they kind of have to have the same children, like the same sort of curriculum, and be smarter than you, and that's hard. You could do vast amounts of research. I did that. I became completely addicted to Starbucks peppermint mochas. I will drink them all year round. Or you could give up, accept defeat. I've known people that do that. They will start homeschooling and then they panic and bail. And what's funny is, in my job, I see two kinds of parents, right? The parents that are getting panicky and want to quit, and then the others who saw how bad public or private school was and they want to start. And I often wish they would talk to each other, right? Because they would talk each other down from the ledges, and they would both end up homeschooling with more confidence. Now, the high school solution is a better way. It can help you homeschool every age and stage, and it's perfect for you if you are a new homeschooler with kids that are near high school age, or if you're a veteran homeschool parent who has homeschooled before, but you want to do a better job. Or maybe you're isolated or secluded, or you can't find like-minded homeschoolers, maybe military, missionary, or needing extra support. It's perfect if you're raising a struggling learner or the next Einstein and you're doubting your ability to keep up with them. The high school solution was helpful for Sally, who said that it was an enormous amount of info, but presented in bite-sized pieces so parents can learn without getting overwhelmed and frustrated. And Erin, who said that the high school solution gave her peace and mind, and that was so inspiring and confidence building. And you know what? You can find peace and confidence too. The high school solution is the fastest way to set up successful homeschool high school with everything that you need so that you can gain the confidence you need to tackle the challenges of every stage of your high school journey. The high school solution is a collection of online resources, classes, workbooks, ebooks. It's for parents. I don't teach kids, I teach parents. It does include over 50 hours of training classes that will fit your learning style. Each class includes a video you watch on the computer, MP3 that you can download, ebooks to read, downloadable charts and forms and workbooks from classes. It includes 4 resource packs that are, and bonus packs as well. These are the everyday value bonuses: the motivation pack, the taming technology pack, the finding the faith pack filled with scriptural motivation, and continuing education through the Silver Training Club. Let me explain the Silver Training Club in detail so you understand. It provides extra encouragement with continuing education. You get a free trial membership for 30 days. This is continuing education for serious home educators like you. It has 5 classes each month. It's smaller because it's only 5 classes. It's not 50 hours, it's 5 hours, right? It's smaller and more bite-sized. And I find that the drip, drip, drip of information can get more information into you so you become more knowledgeable in the long run. Anyway, with your purchase, it comes free for 30 days. After 30 days, it's $27 per month, but you can cancel at any time, even the day of purchase. So that's our regular bonuses, but we also have surprise bonuses today. We're including what I call my Sanity Savings Pack. That's 3 classes that are meant to bring you back to peace in your home. The first is creating homeschool balance to find harmony between being a type A tiger mom and a slacker. The scheduling is the key to homeschool sanity. Is going to help you plan your way back to mental health, because scheduling is the secret to sanity. And then Beyond Academics will help prepare your child for college and for life so they become thriving, successful adults and not boomerang couch potatoes. We also include a 4-book bundle in the surprise bonus, so you learn the essentials of homeschooling high school with excellence. Now, the high school solution has a money-back guarantee. There's no risk involved, but this is a digital product. Nothing is mailed to you. But because it's a digital product, you can get a full refund within 30 days of your purchase, and there's no like restocking fee or you have to pay to send it back. There's nothing like that. Now, this is a lifetime investment. So the regular price is $197, but I'm giving you a coupon code today to bring the price down to $97, but it's lifetime access. One-time $97 payment, or you can divide it up into a monthly payment plan. You can use this information with all of your children, and it comes with that money-back guarantee. You can actually get more information if you feel like you need more. When you're going into the order form where you enter your billing and your credit card information, make sure you put in that coupon code, by the way, HSS97. That's what will magically turn the price to $97. Okay, you definitely want to use that. But I'd like you to look down at the bottom because you can add more record keeping help. We don't include a lot of record keeping in the high school solution because most homeschoolers are already working on their records or purchase that separately. So it's something that you can add if you want to. Let me show you what that looks like. When you get down here to the record keeping section, you can add the comprehensive records solution for $67. The regular price is $147. And so you're getting it at $80 off because it's bundled together. This is only available to you while you're on this one page. Once you leave this page, the offer will disappear. This is the lowest price you'll ever see on the comprehensive record solution because it's being bundled together. The comprehensive record solution will help you with all of the documents you might ever be asked for. Every single record keeping piece, transcript, course description, reading list, activity list, school profile, all the paperwork. This is what handles all the paperwork. So again, this is lifetime access. You can use it with all of your kids, even your kids that are toddlers right now. Now, once you've decided about adding the comprehensive record solution or not, if you want to add it, you click here. But after you decide or decide not to, you click to agree to terms and services and complete your purchase. And then you'll go to the thank you page. After you've made a purchase, you'll get one more offer, and that is for fantastic for college-bound students. This is the College Launch Solution Finding a College module, and it will help your homeschool student find the best college for them that is most likely to give them scholarships. It will help you plan junior year. It will help you plan for the PSAT, SAT, AC, and CLT. It will help you find and choose colleges and handle special situations like wanting an Ivy League school or military academy or a struggling learner or NCAA or living overseas or searching for Christian colleges. All of those unique situations are handled in the Finding a College module. You can add this resource for only $67. That's $20 off the regular price. Like the others, this is a digital program, which means it's got a money-back guarantee for 30 days, and you get lifetime access to use with all of your children. Let me just give you the summary one more time because I know it can get a little bit confusing. When you buy the high school solution, you get all of the everyday value packs on motivation, technology, finding the faith, the book discounts. It does have a 30-day money-back guarantee, but for the workshop, we're also throwing in the Beyond Academics. Scheduling is the key to sanity. Let's see if I can circle that. Creating Homeschool Balance in the 4-book bundle. You can use it with all of your children and it's lifetime access. Okay, so I wanted to say thank you all for coming and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.